Greetings, family, and welcome to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray, family, that you are well in absolutely all your ways, and that you're moving into living life very much on your own terms. And, special shout out to everyone who supports us on Patreon, who supports us on PayPal, and enables us to continue to spread the Wake Up Africa news to our people. These are the most amazing times to be living in as a Pan-Africanist family. And I feel like I've shared this before, but truly it cannot be said enough. I think over 3-4 years ago, I started preaching the word of the narrative. It's all about the narrative. The way Babylon had been able to get us all mentally enslaved was because they confused us mentally. They got us all confused in our story. They got us in the wrong storyline. We were literally living in Babylon's narrative of us and had no idea of our own stories of ourselves. We were living in his story. And what we're witnessing now with what's happening in France, family, is the breakdown of his story and what is happening. And please watch, I've done a series on these talking about why the African presidents are jittery. I've also done something talking about how this is creating like a fire across Africa. What's happened in Burkina Faso, Mali, Gabon, Niger, and so forth is creating this momentum across Africa where other African citizens are saying, yo, we don't have to put up with our presidents anymore. Our presidents are not God. Our governments do not govern the mental, literally, family. If we look at the pyramid that Babylon had us under, where it was the people, then, society, and at the top of the pyramid was the governmental, governing the minds of the people. What has been dismantled in West Africa and across Africa has been this governing of the mental. And of course, we do send our prayers and aspirations that the generals really do have the best interests of the people at heart. But what else is there to do? We are in the end of times, family. France is no longer a place that leaders want to go to. There's no place that you're going to go live lavish now. Every country is in chaos. All ballers are being forced to relocate back to their homes and build their roots, build their off-grid homes. If you've been on the motherland recently, there's so much happening, family. So much energy is being brought back. So many people reach out to me by email and on my handle saying, how do we get back to Africa? What do we do to need to do to get back to Africa? How do we get land? How do we do this? How do we transition? The exodus has been happening, but the mental and spirit, I don't know if you remember the show I did, family. I think I need to repost some of these shows. About 2 or 3 years ago, I talked about how the spiritual and mental exodus of our people was ongoing. And once that had happened, the physical was inevitable. And so the only thing I wanted to share something so important, because every single person here can become a soldier in the army of the liberation of our people by using your mind and your heart correctly. Because right now, the one single weapon that is working for the African people is our minds. Knowledge has become our power. Knowledge has spread like wildfire about what these presidents have done, about what France was doing. How disgusted do you think billions and billions of Africans were when they realized that African nations were still paying tax to France? That disgust is still being felt today. People still have ongoing discussions about that. So many people have even taken action to try and see how that could be dismantled. And so what we have to realize is that this is the beginning of the revolution. And so we have to strengthen our minds and strengthen our hearts and be resilient that this is the real liberation of our people. Be mentally resilient with that. That this is a revolution and the revolution cannot be hijacked. And then use that mental resilience to speak that. That's the thing you think, that's the thing you speak. that the generals are going to do right by the West African countries. France is not going to come back. The United States is not going to launch an invasion. ECOWAS is going to be defeated. You hold a mental resilience for that. And some of you who have been doing the work, who have been healing, who have been gaining your powers back, who have been coming into who you really are. Some of you are ancient ones. Some of you are ancestors returned. Some of you are gods and goddesses or representatives of those gods and goddesses or rishas, the pharaohs of Egypt. Some of you carry those bloodlines, which means you have the access to their knowledge and their power and their wealth. And it also means you have a bigger impact on what is going on, because I've told you, family, the war is mental. The war is the narrative. And because we're winning the narrative war, we're having a war on the ground. But this is just the beginning. Getting France out of there physically will just be the beginning. But I'm seeing people like the Burkina Faso general. He's understanding the assignment, where they're now dismantling the French pillars that have kept the country in colony. The economic pillars are being dismantled. The cultural pillars. I think one nation even said it's the end of the French language being the official language. Another nation said all French companies, there's no now double taxation benefits. All French companies have to pay taxes. Others are saying the French even have to leave. This is the new energy and the new momentum. This is the new narrative that is grabbing our people's hearts and wars. So when you tweet, don't tweet something that makes Babylon look good. Don't tweet something that gives Babylon power. Oh, Babylon is going to invade or whatever and do this. Why? Why are you promoting them? This is now how we're going to know. This is the separation of the wheat from the chaff. This is how we know who is really behind for Africa and who is against Africa. Because any of you guys who are sending me those low vibrational articles, watch ECOWAS deciding to invade, Nigeria deciding to do this. You guys are part of the problem. And you think you're so enlightened and entitled to spread your opinion when you are the ones we're fighting mentally and with our keyboards. Because you're too low and too brainwashed to see the end of the French in Africa, that you still want to give them power. You're the ones who you would sign up to fight for the French because you think your people are still going to lose. Open your eyes, people. See who's really for us and who's against us. Take notes. And be mentally resilient about the liberation of our people. TUKO, PAMOJA.